Just as people have learned in the past that it is possible to grow trees when they wanted to replant a forest, or grow marsh grasses to replant our wetlands, we are helping to develop the technologies to restore our fragile coral reef ecosystems. Around the world, about 25% of the world's corals have been lost, higher than that amount here in the Florida Keys. I'm Dr. Dave Vaughn, Executive Director of Mote's Tropical Research Lab here in the Florida Keys. We're the field station that actually focuses on coral reefs, including works on coral reef monitoring and reef restoration. We do a decent amount of work on targeting the species that can restore the reef. We've heard about coral aquaculture. We actually do work from both collection of gametes to see if we can settle corals out from sexually reproduced individuals, as well as from asexually reproduction using fragmentation. To date, Mote Marine Lab, like a couple of other laboratories and foundations, have proven that we can produce thousands of fragments which are now ready to plant back on the reef. We also have planted hundreds with over 90% survival 1 to 2 years later, and now have ready over 1,000 to be able to plant them. So the technology for being able to produce numbers has actually been developed successfully enough now that this could be a technology for restoration. And it's up to us to be able to try to restore, using science technologies, those fragile coral reefs back to the habitat systems which makes them so important. They are the habitat for almost every fin fish that we like to catch at sea, any crab and lobster that we like to catch and eat. And so it is the main structure of that sort of oasis in the bottom of a desert ocean that attracts about 25 to 40% of the world's fisheries that are dependent on at least one portion of their life cycle, whether that's a nursery ground, a breeding ground, or a feeding ground. As well as, we all know, it's a nice, pleasurable, recreational thing to snorkel or dive.
Our main focus here at Mote Tropical Research Laboratory is coral reef restoration. And one of the things we are working on to help facilitate that is land-based coral culture of stony corals. So we've been working for about 4 or 5 years on initial attempts to mass culture stony corals. And we've done a lot of preliminary work with transplanting them to offshore environments. And what we found is that we can produce a healthy, robust, disease-free subject that can then be transplanted out into offshore conditions. If we take these small fragments and put them in an array on these dead coral skeletons, we're hoping that each fragment will start to reskin or resheet over that dead coral skeleton. And by doing this, we can address restoration and see restoration in our lifetime. So we're looking to put these 1-inch fragments dotted along a large skeleton with the hopes that these fragments will grow out and crust over the dead skeleton and merge into one colony eventually. So this fragment originally was 3 smaller fragments, one here, and one here, that actually grew into one another and are actually starting the process of merging. If you look very closely, you can see a small polyp in the margin between 2 fragments that is starting to form. That's a good indicator that the merging process is occurring, that they're starting to act as one colony. A lot of stony corals and soft corals as well, their life history is based on size. So initially when they're small, they'll start growing really fast and putting all their energy into spreading out over the substrate. But as they get older, they start putting energy into reproduction. So that means a lot more genetic diversity is put out on the reef. Corals will broadcast their eggs and sperm into the water column and potentially reseed damaged reefs in the future. So today we're going to plant about 130 offshore corals, with the comparison being 130 inshore corals. We grew them up for about 8 to 10 months, and now we're going to see how they grow out in the field and compare them to some larger fragments that we already have out in the field.
So it's those kinds of technologies that we're developing here through other institutions, as well as through programs in association with the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary, programs with the Nature Conservancy and the Smithsonian, as well as funding coming from our Protect Our Reef license plate here in Florida. These monies go to new projects such as reef restoration and understanding some of the other keystone herbivores, such as diadem of long-spine sea urchin, which we're also looking to see if we can restore, so that they can graze down fast-growing algae that can sometimes compete with corals to cover the reef. If you'd also like to help protect our reefs, you can do so by purchasing a Protect Our Reef license plate. Here, if you're a car, boat, or trailer owner in the state of Florida, or you can also just donate to the Protect Our Reef program at mote.org, mote.org, and look up the number 4, Reef, REEF.